So you've chosen to be an Earth tank. So let's look into that here. So Earth tank is the only tank a part of DC that has two separate core mechanics in terms of its tanking. So we've got Brick Golem. So basically, summoning a pet golem gives you Earthen Bond. What Earthen Bond is that where it says transferring a portion of your damage, incoming damage. So 2/3 of your incoming damage is transferred to Brick. So Brick absorbs that damage. You don't have to. So essentially, the core mechanic is that you're just keeping Brick alive. So you're using powers to give Brick power. So he will taunt, he will heal himself, give himself power, etc. And then you're just surviving. The other method is going to be with Stone Skin. So the base defense with Earth, you get 65% defense, you gain defense equal to 65% of your dominance while not blocking. Once again, with perception, don't matter, don't worry about the PvP. And if we go to a power that's going to give Aftershocks, so if we say we go to Jackhammer, you gain Stone Skin, so increasing your defense by 55% while not blocking, and it doesn't stack with Earthen Bond, so you can't use Brick and Stone Skin together. And then each hit additions increases the duration of Stone Skin. So that system revolves around using Earth combos. So if we go up to the top here, so using either Upheaval or Jackhammer, these ones will give you or keep you in that Aftershock state. So you always have that extra defense. So in terms of a spec, once again, it's always going to be a hybrid. You're using a mix of weapons and your powers. Also, it helps for that 5% dominance, which will in turn increase into how much defense you get, and the restoration will go towards shield strength. Don't worry about the glitch skill points. And then here, since there's no healing to yourself, you can skip these and just do the 10 and 10 to drop your skill points, drop the tier down. So since defense is the primary statistic of Earth Tank, you're going to be using dominance. So you want to max out your dominance tree completely. Then you can go into iconic powers. You're going to take Amazon Deflection. You're going to take Hard Light Shield. You're going to take Mesmerizing Lasso. Mesmerizing Lasso is just going to be for situations where there's two tanks or you need a single target pull because Earth doesn't have a single taunt or a hard taunt, single target pull. Going to super speed, we're taking the Speed Force Innate, we're taking Dash Attack, and then the Iconic Innate Recovery just to help with a little bit of power. Phase Dodge is an option. In regular and elite content, it's rare that you can require Phase Dodge. That's more for like extreme situations like survival mode or attacks that are very high spike damage. So in weapons, you're using a weapon choice that's going to be comfortable to you. So for myself, I'd use one-handed. You want something with a quick lunge, something that you can easily do counters with. So it could be one-hand, it could be shield, could be bow. You've got some options there. And then going back to stats, you're pretty much putting the rest into health. So while you would think Restoration, Gemstone Shield is already the strongest shield in the entire game for a tank if you're maxing out the Aftershocks, or basically the combo with it, which I'll show once I get to the power. So it's not absolutely required. Hard Light Shield, once again, is one of the top base shield multiplier shields. Dash Attack as well could be supercharge based, and if you're using Eye of the Gemini, you get the extra 5% Dom and Resto. So you essentially want your health. You still want a high health pool because if you're using Brick tanking, if Brick dies, then you have no extra protection. So until you resummon a Brick, you don't have any Earthen Bond, you don't have any damage transfer. So that's why it's beneficial to have a high health pool so you can survive in those instances. And then with Aftershock tanking, you still want a high health pool because all you have for mitigation is your defense. So you have better survivability with your defense, and your health, you just have that extra survivability. So Resto doesn't impact Earth as much as some other power sets because really you're only using 2 or 3 shields, and they're so strong that if you add an extra 10% restoration, it's not going to make a night and day difference because or Gemstone Shield is twice as strong as some of the other tank shields. So then, obviously you can't put 295, but you could put like 150 in health depending on what your skill points are, and then you're set there. So in terms of gear mods, for weapons, can be Absorption Adapter. Weapon attacks have a chance to activate a shield, reducing damage by 75% until damage equal to 30% of your health is prevented. For helmet mod, since there's no earth supercharge you can be using yourself, it's going to be either like dash attack, pheromone bloom, perfect poise, depending on what you are. So for example, we're going to be dash attack. Neck mod is always going to be fortified assault. Back mod, accelerate gemstone shield. As I said before, gemstone shield is the strongest shield in the entire game, so you want to have that up as often available as you want. So that's why it's handy with the Manacles of Force, which I'll touch on the artifact, resetting that. Unstoppable, that is going to be more for battle tanking. Soothing Sands is your breakout. Once again, it's not required. It's going to be niche situations. Accelerated Jackhammer, you don't need, because Jackhammer already has a quick cooldown. So, and as long as you hit Jackhammer a few times to get into Aftershocks, even if you get interrupted while using it, by the time your cooldown's up, you still have Aftershocks active. So for chest mod, it's going to be hardy. Get that 5% extra health pool. Leg mods, as I always say, they don't scale whatsoever. You're not using striking stones, tremor, or technically using epicenter, but the healing from it doesn't scale whatsoever. So really, just you don't have to worry about leg mods at all. And for hand mods, in power channeling, we're not using any channeled abilities. We're not gadgets or mental. Mighty smashing doesn't scale, and regen shielding doesn't scale either. So you're just taking max damage. And foot mod, we're taking Tumbling Mastery just to make sure our dodge rolls aren't a vulnerable interrupt and give us that extra dodge range. So in terms of artifacts, we've got about 4 choices just depending on the situation. So once again, Manacles of Force will be your main artifact. It's the only tank artifact that you need at 200 or that is worth it at 200 comparatively. So this one absorbs 50% of your incoming damage, so that's why it's nice to have the higher health pool, so that even if you take a hit that's going to kill you, if you have 200k health, you take a 100k hit, then the 100k hit is split in half. You take 50k right away, and then 50k will be a dot over the next 5 seconds. And then also, once again, when Unshakable triggers, you get that cooldown reset on Gemstone Shield. Like I said before, it's the strongest tank shield, personal, so that's why you want to have that as often as possible. Mystic Symbol of 7, this is more just, you get some extra defense, which is handy for Earth. You get some passive healing over time, so it's just one of those artifacts that help. This one you get in 2 situations. So when you're using brick tanking, there's not really the opportunity to use a supercharge. Unless there's in a situation where you don't need epicenter. So if you don't need any AoE pull, then you're fine. Then you could just use Earthen Grip and then run like Dash Attack or Ripper Poise or a Shield. Then I would use Eye of the Gemini. If you're using Aftershock tanking does use supercharge, so then I would run Eye of the Gemini. So this is really the only situation is brick tanking. My normal loadout for brick tanking that I'm going to show you doesn't have a supercharge most of the time. So that's why it'd be pointless to run Eye of the Gemini. So that's why I'm running Everyman Prototype. Everyman Prototype isn't going to be the most useful artifact for earth tanking, but it does prevent a little bit more survivability when you have a situation where brick dies, because when brick dies, your health is going to spike down. So then you gain that extra defense, at least for a little bit extra survivability, until you have brick summoned again. So 9 times out of 10, you still want Eye of the Gemini if you're running Supercharge as Earth, but there's going to be a situation if you're brick tanking where you may not run a Supercharge, so then you could run Everyman Prototype instead of Gemini. But Gemini is very helpful for most situations, especially with brick, because Eye of the Gemini will heal brick. Also give you the 5% dominance, health, and restoration. So it's not a giant heal, but it does heal NPCs. So with Augments, since once again dominance is a core mechanic of Earth in terms of it relating to defense, you're going to be taking your dominating implants. So I'm a Superman mentor, so this screen may look a little bit different of you if you're Cersei or Batman, but it's going to be the same thing. It's still going to be dominating. So in your Origin Augments, it's going to be dominating, and in your head mods for the adaptive, these are going to be episode specific, so they may change the name. Each episode is going to be different, but you still want dominating in the top. In terms of consumable usage, because once again, dominance is the core mechanic, you're using a bulldozer soda. So if anytime you want to buff yourself, you're taking a bulldozer instead of the all natural or the nutries. Chrome mech emitters wants to go hand in hand with Earth, because Earth doesn't have any real stuns. It has some juggles and knockups, but that's about it. So you want to pull them in with Epicenter and then stun them with chromatic emitters, which I'll show in the rotation. And the personal dampening field is handy with the brick tanking because say a brick dies and you don't have hard light shield, or you don't have gemstone shield active, or you don't have a breakout trinket, at least you can summon a brick with a personal dampening field and give you a little bit extra survivability before to summon a brick, because it does clip and it is fixed. So it doesn't apply to your base shield multiplier at all. It's a fixed damage absorption. So I'm going to hop to the watchtower. I'm going to show you where to get the breakout trinket, and we'll get the gen mods and the affinity mod bonuses at the same time. Okay, so in terms of breakout trinket, I can't speak to where it is in the Hall of Doom, but it's going to be wherever the PV vendors are. You can pretty much go to any PV vendor and you're going to see it. So if you scroll down, this is right here. It's going to have different names. What you're looking for is in the effects. It's going to be breakout 30% control resistance, solid for 20 seconds. So these are 8 thirst marks. The stats or item levels are completely irrelevant. All you're using is the breakout. So you can run the DPS one, tank one, really doesn't matter. That's all irrelevant. What you want is just that breakout. And then for the generator mods, we'll hop to the tech wing here. Okay, so at least for the watchtower, it's going to be the tech wing in this corner here. Someone can put in the comment section where it is in the Hall of Doom. But we go here. Now this does require you to get elite gear. So the affinity mod bonuses are here. So type A, B, C, and D are either 2, 4, 6, or 8 pieces of elite gear. I'm not expecting you to get full elite gear. I know that's not realistic or practical for a lot of you guys. But at least if you can try to get 4 pieces and get those percentages. So what we want is dominance A and dominance B. And this will at least give you an extra 2% dominance. In terms of the 6 or 8, I mean, Rejuvenating Escape would work with Soothing Hands, but I mean, it's just a small heal. It's not going to really matter at all. You've got Auto Breakout, which can be a little bit detrimental in situations where you have, like, say, Phoenix Cannon or Darkside War Factory. If there's a breakout effect, it can kill players beside you, so Auto Breakout would be detrimental there. I mean, Sure-Footed gets you some extra control resistance, which isn't completely necessary. You already have Earth and Bond up with Soul Link. So, I mean, technically, run Soul Link and get the extra 2% transfer to your pet. Crippling Stance will be just if you have a chance to stun an enemy, but nothing of these are going to be consequential. You're going to be completely fine with just the 2 and 4. So, let's hop to the base and show you where the gen mods go. Okay, so into your layer. If we go to mods, we're going to have all health in the blues. Support's always going to be dominance. And then in the affinity ones, we want dominance A and dominance B. And like I said, don't really worry about the 6 or 8 procs. None of them are going to be that good enough to warrant taking them. I mean, you can take them if you want them, just because you can have 8 elite pieces. You might as well have something to help, but it's not as beneficial as it is for the first 2 ones. Okay, so in terms of loadout for specifically brick tanking first, we have Earth and Grip, which is going to be our main pull. Also sets up Crush if we needed it. Next, we're going to have Epicenter, which is basically our AoE pull. Then we're going to have Fortified Golem. Fortified Golem basically gives a heal over time to Brick for 6 seconds. Also will provide him with a bit of power. So this is your main mechanic to keep Brick alive yourself, because healers don't typically run NPC healing powers. Next, we're going to run Gemstone Shield. This is going to be your strongest shield, and there is a combo to it, which I will show in a moment. Next, we're going to run Hard Light Shield. And then we're going to be summoning Brick. So this is the loadout here. If you don't need an AoE pull like Epicenter to gather ads, then yes, you don't need, you can drop that and run a supercharge, basically just as another situation to keep Brick alive and keep yourself alive. So what I'm going to do first is, just to give you a little facts about Brick, we're going to actually run a supercharge, just so I can show it. So we're going to summon a Brick. You can see this ore that I have on me now. This is going to be Earth and Bond. So if we go down to the effects tab, it should show Earth and Bond. No, not unless I was actually taking damage from it. but that's how you know it's active, is the aura. So if I go over here to the damage Doomsday Spore Cloud, you're going to see the dark purple numbers. This is going to be the damage that I transfer to Brick. So Brick is taking 2/3 damage, but also I'm taking damage as well. So Brick can heal himself like you just saw using his power. Now what we want to see is Brick taunt. If Brick taunts using Jackhammer, it's going to use up all his power, which is the one drawback to Brick, and why you obviously want to use Fortified Golem. Because if Brick doesn't have any power, he's not going to heal himself. So let's see if I can get him to proc Jackhammer. Don't attack the Spore Cloud, Brick. You're going to lose. But at the same time, I would like you to, for the sake of this video, please... Oh, he's draining power anyway, regardless. So, now that I'm going to die here. So now we can see Brick's health. So, I'm going to use either Gemini here. And then, pay attention to Gemini. So, it restores 3% health. So, this also works on NPCs. So, if I use Dash Attack, he's getting healed for 8140 for Brick. So what that means is that we can calculate Brick's max health at your given CR. So at 339 CR, which is what I'm at, we can calculate that Brick's max health is going to be 200, or base health is going to be 271,000. So Brick is just like any other pet, like your Grim, anything else. So your pet's health is going to be dictated by your CR. So the higher CR you have, the higher his health is going to be. But that's the easiest way to calculate it, is by using an ability like that. I mean, you could break down, kill Brick, and do all the math, but I mean, Gemini is going to heal him for 3%. So by calculating that, we know exactly that Brick's health is going to be about 271,000. And now let's get out of combat here. So if I'm not taking damage, Brick's not going to take damage, just because it's just environmental damage. But I guess I can show... I have to get out of combat here to take off Dash Attack, but I can show how like Gemstone works. So the way Gemstone works here, tap melee 3 times. So as you tap melee, it's going to increase the absorption and the base sheet multiplier of Gemstone. So if I just hit Gemstone Shield, you get 1. So obviously you don't want that. That's going to be the lowest tier. I mean, it's still going to clip, but it means that you're wasting all the potential of that. So now if I hit it twice, 1, 2. I think I did 3 times there. It's pretty quick, but that's why you get 3. And the max one will be 4 here when it comes up. So now if I actually do it 3 times, you'll see that clap, and you'll see that it's fully activated. So that means just you're at the max tier of Gemstone Shield. And then Fortified Golem, like I said, let's see if I can... have Brick take a bit more damage. So I can pop this. That'll give him heal over time as well and restore his power so he can heal himself. Not that he's going to need it. So Brick has the ability to pop Gemstone Shield. It has the, when I use Fortified Golem to shield himself. No, I'm going to die. It'll give him power. Brick's AI can be a little bit dumb sometimes. It'd be nice if I could get him to actually show Jackhammer. Because Jackhammer is how Brick... There he is, right there. So you saw when he used Jackhammer, his entire bar is gone. So that means Brick can no longer do anything himself. He can't heal himself. He can't taunt again because it all requires his power bar. So the Brick AI can be a little bit dumb sometimes in terms of it just if it needs to taunt or not. But that's why if I'm going to hit Fortified Golem, it's going to fill his power bar to full. And then he can go back into, obviously, wasting it with Jackhammer again. So, I mean, you're still at the mercy of Brick being an AI when you use it. But that's essentially how it's going to work. So, like I said, with the Brick loadout, all you're doing is dropping Dash Attack, and you're taking Epicenter. So this will be your actual Brick loadout. And like I said, if you don't need an AoE pull, put in Dash Attack, Perfect Poise, whatever your shield was, and that's how you do that there. So let's jump on and let's touch on an Aftershock loadout. Okay, so with Aftershocks, if we go back to it here, So Aftershocks is going to give you Stone Skin. So Stone Skin gives you an extra 55% on top of what you'd already have as defense with the core mechanic of Earth being here. So the 65% defense equal to 65% of your dominance. So on top of that, you gain an extra 55% with Stone Skin. So with that, it's still going to be Earth and Grip as your pull. You're still going to have Epicenter as your AoE pull. So this is more just for like an ad situation. Then you're going to have Jackhammer, which is going to be your main applier of Stone Skin. Then we're going to have Gemstone Shield as your stronger shield. Then we're going to have Hard Dead Shield. And then here we have a choice. I'm going to use the Supercharge, but if you don't have a Supercharge earned, you do run Amazon Deflection. But ideally you would have a Supercharge because you're running Gemini, so you'll be able to restore regen yourself. So in this situation, I would not be using Everyman Prototype. I would be using either Gemini with an Aftershock build. So essentially the rule of thumb is that I'm always going to be in Stone Skin, and whatever gets through Stone Skin, I have 3 shields. So what Stone Skin looks like, I have it applied here. So if we should have shown the effects thing. So I get 55% defense, and then each time I hit Jackhammer again, it's just going to extend the duration. So you don't have to sit here and just spam Jackhammer. That's not necessary unless you're trying to like battle tank. You can just hit it 1, 2, and go back into it. And then each time you're going to extend the duration. So accelerated Jackhammer is pointless because it's going to be a 3-second cooldown anyway. So if I hit Jackhammer, I extend the duration, and then by the time I'm done out of the animation of Jackhammer, it's already off cooldown again. So it's just not necessary. So the only thing you have to remember is just that you have to keep extending the duration with Jackhammer. But other than that, you're still free to pull the ads away. Earth and Grip can be a little bit awkward with a pull. That's why I prefer Epicenter. Once they're gathered, it'll pull them all in. And then say if we're using Chromatic Emitter. So all the ads are pulled up, and then you stun them. Because Earth and Grip is not a clean pull. It's a little bit awkward. They changed it in Stats Revamp. So it's a little bit awkward to keep things gathered. It kind of sends them all flying over the place. You can send them behind you like I just did there. So that's why if it's going to be any situation with ads, you don't want to rely on Earth and Grip itself because it's just not going to be the best type of pull. So at least with Epicenter, you can kind of pull them with Earth and Grip and then keep pulling them with you with Epicenter and stun them. And then making sure that you keep Jackhammer active. So pull the ads. It's the same, Aftershocks tanking is the same concept as like ice tanking where it's active tanking. So all I have to do is just keep Aftershocks up. I'm still free to get counters. I'm still free to lunge ads, gather them. You know, I can hit Gemstone Shields if I need it. Go back into Aftershocks. You know, if I'm taking a little bit too damage through my defense, I can hit Hard Dead Shield. You know, extend the duration of Aftershocks. I've got my Supercharge active. And like I said, you can see the regen with either Gemini. So, and then just keep extending Aftershocks. So that's all it's going to be. It's the other Aftershock combo one is Upheaval. Upheaval is a ranged one. Not a fan of it. It's really slow and awkward. You're going to be up close and personal with ads anyway, so you're going to be using Jackhammer. It's just the better of the two powers to use. And there's Aftershocks. So let's hop over to Flashpoint Gotham, and we'll show you what these actually look like in actual practice. So with this example using Aftershocks on ads, this example unfortunately is going to go really quick, just because Jackhammer is going to kill them. So the general rule of thumb is you don't want to jump in without Jackhammer or Stone Skin being active, because I mean you're losing 55% defense right away. So make sure you have Stone Skin active, and then you can pull the hallway ads. As you saw, I've just yanked them. They're flying all over the place. Make sure you have Jackhammer up again. Then you can use Epicenter and start pulling them in. So you can see right here, Earth and Grip is a wee bit awkward, but you can pull them in, stun them, go back into your Jackhammer. It is possible to get knocked out Jackhammer or just CC'd out of it. Think of it like an atomic combo. So if you leave yourself too short to use Jackhammer, then your Stone Skin can drop because you just got CC'd or knocked out of Jackhammer. But, I mean, don't feel obligated to have to sit in Jackhammer the entire time. That's only if you can sustain the power. Like in regular content, that'll work just in case you want to do a little bit more damage as a quotation battle tank. But don't feel obligated to do that. You're just doing it enough just to extend Stone Skin. But that's all it is here. I mean, the extra defense helps, and then you get the passive heal over times from Mystic Symbol. And like I said, if there's any issues, then I can go into Gemstone Shield. Activate Stone Skin again. So as you saw here, I mean, I could easily just sit here and jackhammer and kill all the ads. So it's not the most practical example with that, but the same thing in the hallway. It's just you're just keeping ads juggled. I mean, even if you were concerned about a hallway ads just killing you, you can always drop like Hard Edge Shield or and just take the 2, and then you could take another power like Unstoppables. Can be great. It's going to regen your supercharge for dash attack as well as it'll knock up the enemies again. So just if you really have to juggle ads, just like my if you saw my fire video, my example is Flashpoint. So I've got Backdraft, I got Flashpoint, I've got Chromatic Emitters. But in terms of a boss fight, same thing. Just like the Atomic Ore, you want to make sure you start with Stone Skin. So never not start an encounter without Stone Skin. It's just absolutely pointless. You're going to be losing, taking unnecessary damage. But like you see here, even with the extra defense, I am still taking some damage from Doomsday. Because obviously I don't have any self-healing abilities. So it just means that for survivability, I'm still relying on like Mystic Symbol to heal me on hits. Or I'm just surviving between Gemstone Shields. Keeping Stone Skin active. Still play for counters. So even though my health is really low as Earth, I can keep surviving for much longer. I just playing between shields, Gemstones up, keep Stone Skin active, counters, and then I can always hit dash attack if I needed to. Helps me regen a tiny bit of health. Stone Skin drop there. So you see, I kind of got knocked out of Stone Skin, so I know right away my Stone Skin is not that, hasn't been active that long, so I should go back into it to extend the duration because I got knocked out of it right while I was doing it. And that's all it is for boss fights. So you're still being an active tank, you're still playing for counters. Only blocking on skull attacks or obvious attacks from the bosses to knock it down just like that. I'm not holding block, I'm not sitting in it because I'm going to lose that defense. So Earth tanks are very easy tanks to heal because, you know, you've got the extra defense, so I'm not taking that much massive spike damage. Like say a rage tank, sometimes healers aren't sure if the rage tank is actually going to recover it, or like a fire tank, your health is going to spike a lot. So I can be protected, take a soda if I have to. And that's what Aftershocks look like. So once again, this video is designed to give you a foundation in terms of what the rotation will look like. If I just, you know, did any kind of raid or any kind of regular raid as Aftershocks, you're not going to really take away or learn much because all it is you're just going to see me there. It's going to be different situations when you have to use Aftershocks, or sorry, not Aftershocks, but like when you have to use Hard Light Shield or Gemstone Shield. It's going to be all situational. So all I can do is give you the foundation, and then from there you have the proper foundation, the proper spec, proper artifacts to be able to tank properly in raids. And then after that, you're just getting used to how much, like what bosses hurt, what situation did the healers not heal you from, what situation where the healer's lacking, or if there's only one healer or something like that, or if he's spamming supercharge instead of healing you, etc. So this gives you the foundation of what you know you have to be a proper Aftershocks tank. Okay, so let's jump to brick tanking. Okay, so for brick tanking in terms of rotation, like if you're looking for what's better than brick or Aftershocks, really they excel in different types of situations, but both are completely viable. Brick doesn't do the best with sustain ad damage because when brick dies, you are really vulnerable and it's really easy for you to die. So if there's a situation where there's a massive like dot all the time, like say like Clock Tower, Phoenix Cannon, Shatter Gotham, when you have a constant dot damage, that's going to constantly hitting brick, and when brick dies, either you may not see brick die and you just take massive damage, you're not sure what the hell happened, and then you have to pop a shield, or maybe too late, or you just die because you just collapse under brick. Think of like when brick dies, it's almost like a rage crash from rage. You just take massive spike damage because you have no damage mitigation whatsoever. So in situations like that, you don't want to necessarily use brick. Like say for example, on the first boss fight in QE, so on Trigon, those Empress Eyes are going to basically just wreck Brick, because 2/3 of your damage is being transferred to Brick. Brick's going to die, and then all of a sudden you still have all the massive damage from Empress Eyes and hitting you. So yes, you can still brick tank. I'm not saying it's impossible to brick tank like say Trigon First Boss, but Aftershocks handles that situation better because you don't have to worry about something dying, having to resummon it. Because there's been plenty of times where Brick's died, I've resummoned it, it's died right away, and then all of a sudden I just wasted Hard Light Shield to summon Brick, and then I don't have Gemstone Shield off cooldown. It's just those situations like that can be dangerous. Because Fortified Golem, yes, it provides healing over time into Brick, but it's not going to save Brick. If Brick is taking massive damage and going to die, Fortified Golem is not going to be like the be-all and end-all to save it. So it is situational. Both are, like I said, both are viable. It's not like you say, oh, you can't brick tank that or you can't Aftershocks tank that. It is possible to do everything as both. It's just that one has an easier time over the other. So just like Aftershocks, you want to make sure that Brick is summoned obviously before you go into a fight. And let's see if I can get these off. See here, Brick's already out of power because he taunted the enemies. So I'm going to have to make sure I'm hitting Fortified Golem off cooldown almost. Like I said, Brick's doing most of the work. So essentially I'm just here just giving Brick power. So the reason why I'm not really taking any damage here is just because these ads don't hurt me enough to get through Brick's heals. So that's why, I mean, it's not a perfect situation. These are just open world ads. But say if I'm doing it like a boss fight, like say like last boss of Crowny, any kind of boss fight with a ton of ads, even like Flash to the Future or Flastastic Voyage with all those ads. If they hit you hard enough to get to Brick, because I mean you can see the damage transfer here. It's only like, you know, hundreds hitting Brick, and he's got 270k health. So that's why in regular content you can do Aftershocks tanking and pretty much battle tank anyway with just jackhammer spam. So I mean regular content you could really do both. But let's see if I can find like another example here. Let's jump over to the boss fights here and see here. So they're still going to attack me. Sometimes they do attack Brick and actually taunt it. Just depends. Most of the time they're still going to be attacking you and then just treat Brick as a damage transfer. The other annoying thing is that when they do attack Brick, they can farm immunity off Brick. If Brick's like spamming a block breaker, they can go straight for Brick, which is kind of frustrating too sometimes. But you can see right now Aqualad's focused on Brick. Vixen's on me. You can just tell by where they're looking. The same thing, Brick will be out of power. And all you're doing is you're pretty much hitting Fortified Golem off cooldown regardless. Because even if Brick is at full health, full power, it's still going to provide him healing over time. So if he starts to take damage, you still have that advantage. The only thing you would lose would be the power. But I mean that's pretty much all it is here. Same thing as the concept with Aftershocks between Stone Skin. All you're doing is hitting Fortified Golem every 6 seconds and then hitting shields just to mitigate the damage that you take that's not transferred to Brick. And then getting, you know, you can still go for counters and stuff in between. Same thing. It's still, Earth is still an active tank. You know, you're not sitting in combos as Atomic. Same thing. If you have to mitigate damage, just pop a shield. But you still have to be mindful that you don't have that survivability yourself. I should mention as well, let's just pop a soda. Breakout Trinket is also very crucial. Honestly, I would drop the Health Trinket. Health Trinket's not required for Earth. Don't worry about it. I would take the Breakout Trinket instead, because if say Brick dies, like say if let's for example here, let's de-summon Brick just so you can see the damage that I'll take without it. So say Brick dies. I have a shield active. By the spirit of the animal kingdom. Wait for this to expire. So all of a sudden, I'm taking massive damage. It's like, okay, I'm okay. I'm like, what's going on here? So I can summon Brick with a Breakout Trinket, get him active right away, and then I have the damage transfer right away. So ideally, you want to summon a Brick with a Supercharge.
Okay, tough guy.
but we can kind of show you again here. Let's pop this, get my health back up, desummon brick, get aggro again, and you'll see here I'm almost, all of a sudden, bam, I'm at like 20% health. So you saw how quickly without brick my health just dropped like a rock against them, where before with brick active I'm taking much less damage that I can account for with like Mystic Symbol if I'm getting hit, and how easy it was for me to stay alive. Here I'm sitting at like 25% how easy I could stay alive, but when brick died I lost 75% of my health in like a few, in like what, 2 seconds there. So that's all really brick tanking is. Once again, it's all situational. You're letting brick do the work, hitting fortified golem off cooldown, and then you just have to be aware if brick dies to make sure that you're clip summoning that, ideally with a shield. So 9.9 times out of 10 you want to clip summon with a shield. If you don't have that, that's why you have the Breakout Trinket kind of as a backup. But if you just we'll go back here to Doomsday. So if we go back to Doomsday here, or actually no, we can go back to them if there's stuff, if they didn't desummon, because they attack a bit faster than Doomsday. Okay, so I'm going to go here. I'm not going to summon a brick. We'll start the fight. I'm taking all this damage. Then I choose to summon a brick. He's up, and I've still lost half my health with that like 2-second summon time. So then I have to hit Fortified Golem, then I have to hit a shield. So the summon a brick is very long. Plus, worst case scenario, if you get interrupted on the summon, if you get like CC'd or knocked up while you're trying to summon it, once again, then you're just asking for trouble. So that's why it always clip summon brick. So it gives you a general idea of the foundation kind of the mechanics, as well as the rotations for Aftershocks and brick tanking. Like I said before, there's no clear best between the two. In the past there was, now brick tanking is a lot more viable. It just honestly depends on the raid. It's a raid to raid switch. So sometimes brick will be better in situations. In regular content, honestly you could use either all three. Technically you could be brick, Aftershocks, or battle tanking. Regular content's not going to be enough damage to kill you, but for elite, honestly it'll depend from raid to raid. So take care guys, good luck.